All right. All right. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to
Hey.
Opting for
Hello.
Freedom. How are you today?
Oh, we're
Good.
awesome.
How
We're
are
great.
you?
How you doing?
I'm doing great, great, great. Well, today, everybody that's listening, we're here with the Mahogany Roads. Am I correct? The Mahogany Roads.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mahogany Roads.
The Mahogany Roads. That is just fabulous. Tell me, what is that? What does the Mahogany Road stand for? And tell me more about who you are.
Well, sure. This is Dave and I'm Mia. And when we decided to start on our venture, we wanted to bring more of our community out there and on this journey with us. And so we wanted a representation of not only who we are, but the people on our journey with us. And that's where mahogany comes from. We are Black, we are brown, we are red, we are all these beautiful, strong tones rooted in where we came from, growing through our present towards the journey that we're about to take. So that's the Mahogany Roads.
All right, that's fabulous. I kind of thought that, but I just didn't want to make any assumptions. Okay. And so, in doing this, how long have you been doing this?
So we've been out here so we started our journey May 23rd of 2020. It's just right when the pandemic kind of kicked off. Originally, our plan was to travel by backpacking South America, but travel restrictions and everything with COVID, the next item on the bucket list that we both kind of had was to RV around America and see this beautiful country right here in our backyard.
Okay.
And that's what we did. It's been almost a year.
Okay. And now you were saying backpacking, okay? But I also know that there's a little one somewhere. So how do you do this as a family in the RV? How does that work?
Oh, wow. So we were a little apprehensive at first. We're like, how are we going to do this with the child? Now, we both have military backgrounds, so we know that anything is possible with the right amount of planning and, the to go ahead and do it. So we did our research and we equipped ourselves as best as possible.
Okay.
And we did a practice run, actually, in Mexico.
Oh.
We brought the baby to Tulum and Cancun and Playa del Carmen, and we backpacked. We did Airbnbs.
You backpack with a baby?
Backpack with a baby. So before the RV, before any type of roof over our head, because our plan was to backpack. He is a backpacker throughout his, young adulthood. He backpacked and traveled. I had never done it. So he presented this idea to me, and I'm very much, let's do it. Let's make this happen. So I told him, we should probably practice because we do at the time, she was like 8 months, 9 months. She was very young. So backpack on his back. I had a backpack on mine, and she was strapped in a carrier on the front, and we just went to Mexico. And we figured if we could do it and make it, then we could backpack. And so, of course, he had his things and her car seat. We brought that with us. We made it happen. Rented Airbnbs, rented cars, went from one place to the next, and travel was really easy. She didn't need anything but what we could give her: food and a roof over her head, abundance of love. So it was quite easy. It was easier than we thought.
It's so much easier than what people think.
Yes. I hear so many families say, oh, well, I would do this, but the kids need a stable environment. What would you say to that?
I'll tell them this. Kids do need routine, they need stability, but they also need that sense of adventure. They need to be able to go out and explore, of course, within arm's reach. They need to explore and see different things, and it helps them to grow and to greater appreciate diversity. So for those who are afraid to do it, I say go out there and do it. Let your kids experience the world. It's only going to open up the doors to their minds so much more.
And structure definitely isn't a 4-brick wall home. structure isn't a bedroom and toys. Structure is just, like Dave said, that routine. You know, it's having your parents, it's having your love, and it's having those constants. Everything else in the world is going to always change, no matter what. But as long as those constants are present, a child feels safe, and a child feels secure, and a child's going to grow, and they're going to blossom in that environment.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that, because I try to help folks understand structure does not mean encampment, you know, inside of brick and mortar. Structure is here. You know, structure is what we think. Structure is our behavior. Structure is our attitude. Structure is how we just show up in the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You said it.
And that's what I think. What has been your challenges? What have been your greatest challenges?
Wow. I'll let you kick that one.
We've had so many. From a parenting standpoint, I think our greatest challenge is reminding ourselves that there are three of us and three different sets of needs. And when I say that, I'll bring myself as an example. I'm a very outdoorsy, adventure grabbing person. I want to hike. I want to jump off things. I want to go mountain biking. I want to do all these extreme things all the time. And he has to remind me we have a little one and she has needs, right? She doesn't want to go hiking all the time. Sometimes she just wants to stop and play in the dirt. So that balance of reminding myself, okay, I get my adventure, she gets her adventure, we can have our adventures blended together, and it's going to look different each time. So I think that constant conversation that we have, and that constant reminder that there is that balance to keep is definitely challenging.
Okay.
We have RV challenges where things break all the time. We have to figure out how to fix them, not knowing. We're not technicians. You know, we did a little bit of research before we bought the RV, but not enough to know that there's maintenance that comes involved and how to fix things. And so when they break, it's always a challenge to figure out how and why and how do we get it fixed and keep moving.
Yeah, it's definitely not like buying a car. You know, you buy the car and you're good until you hit that 15,000 mile.
Exactly, right?
Maintenance. You buy a brand new RV, there's all of these little things that you're constantly tweaking and working on. So that was definitely a challenge.
So you bought, did you buy a new RV or a used RV? What did you do?
We bought new. We bought new. And, you know, you get it on the road, and it's like Nia says, whenever you're driving down the road, it's like a mini earthquake on that thing. So you have all these components, you have ACs, you have fixtures, you know, and if you're not securing things properly, things break. You know, I worked on airplanes in the military, and almost after every flight, there's something broken. So it's very similar. There's little things, but you learn your RV, and you know, you begin to learn what you need to tweak and how to fix things. And you learn from other people in the community. So another challenge that I'd like to talk about is oftentimes we don't talk about space. So in a home, you have bedrooms. You have 3 or 4 bedrooms, and you have the ability to go into a room and close the door and work on a project. You have your own space. On an RV, you're on top of each other all of the time. Very limited space. So it's very important to manage, you know, my personal time or Nia's personal time, or give the baby space to enjoy herself. Because when you don't get that, you know, you can become very short with one another. So it's very important to manage your relationships and the space within this small, tiny home on wheels.
Okay. And are you all full-timing?
So yeah, we full-time for 11 months. And we always said, if we come across that community that just speaks to us and it says this is home, that we'll really consider planting roots. Or I won't say planting roots, we'll consider getting a home base, because travel and adventure is not going to stop for us.
Mm-hmm.
And we found that about a month ago
Okay.
in Tampa. So we found a home. We're getting things set up here. We
Mm-hmm.
have the RV park right outside, and once things get set up here, we're already planning our trip up the the eastern seaboard up to Maine. So
Okay, so you've been
that's
traveling.
for full time.
Yes, you've been full time, and this is what I want folks to know, and that's the next thing I want to ask you about is how has this contributed? Tell me, what does freedom mean to you, first of all, and how does this lifestyle that you have contributed to the choices that you've made to have your freedom?
So freedom, that's such a great big question to kind of just unravel, because freedom is so many things. It's more than just being, or like having the money to go out and just spend all day every day for the rest of your life traveling.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about finding yourself and giving back to yourself and catering to your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It's about discovery of everything around you. It's about having those moments to just breathe and be happy.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I always spoke about before I retired from my military service is being able to take that time off afterwards and not go right back to work. A lot of people that we know, and coworkers, comrades, friends, they go from one long career straight into another one.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give themselves a break, and they don't rediscover who they are as a person. When you work a long career, you become institutionalized, and that shapes and molds you.
Yeah.
But you forget who your former self was, or your younger self, or what your real passions are.
Mm-hmm.
And so this lifestyle, living in the RV in small quarters, has really allowed myself to just discover what I like and what I don't like, and break some bad habits that I had. Taught me patience, taught me really the joys of walking in the rain, and loving the wetness and smelling nature and being part of Mother Earth. And so, all those things to me are freedom.
Yes, absolutely. Just
One thing that I'll
allowing
add
yourself
is,
to be one with the universe is what I hear you say has brought you freedom. What about you, Dave?
yeah, I'll add to that. The freedom for me is, I've always had a very adventurous, curious nature about myself. I love to move about and discover new things. And as I got older, I fell in love with backpacking all through, North Africa, through, East Asia. But here in America, growing up, we didn't always have that freedom. My grandfather's from Mississippi, and I always remember him telling me, I'm never going back to Mississippi. All through my young adult life, once I left and joined the military, I never wanted to go back to that place because he wasn't free there. I had something happen to me at a young age in New York where I went over, I crossed the railroad track, so to speak, and went to a community where I didn't belong and I was racially attacked. So I got to a point in my life, I said, you know what? I have ownership in this country, and I want to see every part of it, unbiased, unscripted. I don't want anyone to tell me what I can and can't do. I want to see it all, and I want to do it all. I want to. My comfort is outside of the box. Outside of the box is what we're supposed to do, or where we're supposed to belong, and how we're supposed to speak, and all these things. So. The freedom to me is getting out and exploring this beautiful country, the earth, and moving about freely without anyone telling me what I can and can't do.
It sounds like to me you have really embraced the things that I believe in and the things that I try to guide people. I say teach, but I don't teach. I try to guide people into releasing themselves from the things that has been socially constructed and projected upon us, and not just upon us as Black people, but just upon us as human beings.
Absolutely.
That says that we're supposed to do this, and you should do that, and you shoulda, woulda, coulda, and if you didn't, or you don't, then you somehow has failed yourself. You have failed society. And that leaves a lot of folks, a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, a lot of mental health problems, a lot of failure to thrive, to find their full potential, both personally and professionally, because they're trying to live within or among something else that has been previously constructed for you before you even existed. So I
Right,
hear
right.
that you were able to find, both of you all find your ways out of it. You've been able to raise your child with so much love and structure. And this is just phenomenal. And I know in your travels, you have ran into some adversity. And what are the things you believe have helped you manage that? Because that's also a fear of some folks to get out of the box because of the challenges that may be out there. Hmm. Yeah.
How I think how we choose to respond to those interactions has really given us peace at being anywhere and everywhere. You know, when we
Hmm.
first left, it was a heightened time of the Black Lives Matter movement. George Floyd had just, been murdered, and
Hmm.
protests had ignited everywhere, and especially along the West Coast and in Portland. And we spent about a month or two almost there. So we were in the midst of it. And even traveling through those, Northwestern states, encountering those people, we had to decide, are we going to allow them to provoke us?
Hmm.
Or are we going to just move past them
Hmm.
and know that no matter, they have their views, we have ours, and we're not going to see eye to eye. And our job isn't to make them see our point of view. Our
Hmm.
job is to acknowledge what is going on in society and then choose to either be a part of it or not.
Hmm.
You know, we choose to be an example. So, I'm not going to impose how I feel or what I think. You know, a lot of times people, I'm going to say they don't matter, but really they don't matter. You
Hmm.
know, when you're free and you know who you are, no one's going to change or create inner turmoil inside of you
Hmm.
unless you allow them to. And we choose not to allow them to. We live our peace
Hmm.
and we enjoy it. I mean, oftentimes we go places and people look at us like we don't belong.
Hmm.
What are you doing at an RV? Did you rent it? No, we bought it. We retired. We own it. You know, but we get a lot of those.
Hmm.
But with example, we set up our camp and everything's beautiful and we have a beautiful family. And when we live like that, people come over and they want to be a part of that. Or
Hmm.
maybe they want to figure us out, but they want to be a part of it.
You're absolutely correct. I've been out here for a bit. I've been encountered by someone that said, "Where did you get that? How did you get that?" Talking about my RV.
Mm-hmm.
Even the judgment of a woman driving it. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
you drive that, thing, and I'm like, absolutely. And it's just a plethora of things that you will encounter that can change your view, can change and affect your spirit. So I really, really appreciate you sharing and saying that is how you choose to respond to whatever it is that you encounter. You don't allow it to come in. That doesn't mean you're ignoring it. It means I am just choosing not to engage in that on that level, because just
Right.
ignoring it also can be problematic. So you're choosing how you're going to engage with the thing, and that's just it. That's it. I can say
Yeah.
nothing else about it. Is freedom to me is about choice. Freedom to me is about choosing what brings me peace.
Absolutely.
Freedom to me is living my peace.
Abs- Absolutely living it.
Yeah, void of the thoughts, the opinions, and the projections of others. Exactly what you just said, Dave. The same exact thing. So for folks that's looking for ways to shake themselves loose or free themselves from the social construct that's been projected upon us, folks that they're trying to live up or under or over these things. Do you have any suggestions? I would like if you could, Nia, tell me something you would suggest to some of the women, and I'm not sexist or genders, but we need to help each other. Something you may can say to some of the women. I have women that say, oh, well, I have to have my creature comforts. I have this, and I know this life doesn't mean you don't have to have that because I have everything I need. Matter of fact, I've got some things that I didn't even know I needed that I've discovered since I've been out here, and things I thought I needed that I have let go of since I've been out here, because it's just feeling
Yeah.
free, And Dave, if anything that you can suggest to the men folks that are listening, and then the thing, something specific to family, something that you can offer to folks that want to just let themselves go. Just brief, something brief, nothing long.
So I think to the women, I would say young, old, in the middle, doesn't matter. Get out of your own way. It is about you and it is about what you want. If you love it, go after it. You have the confidence, you have the will, and you can. There's so many women who don't, whether it's a job promotion, getting on the road, traveling, doing something out of passion or love. They don't do it because they don't believe that they can, or they don't believe that they deserve it. And such a false mentality. That's a shadow that we put up in front of ourselves, and when we look into the mirror, we allow that to speak back to us. When in reality, you can. So once you get out of your way and you just take that step forward, you learn. I can have all my creature comforts. I can go after these things. I can do, because you are strong enough. You are empowered. The only person that's going to empower you is yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Dave, what do you say?
Yeah, for the men, I think we oftentimes, and I'm going to speak to Black men, because oftentimes we get trapped in this cycle of doing or conforming. We do what everyone else does, and we try to keep up with the Joneses. And break that cycle. Remember who you are who you were when you were a child. The things that made you happy, the things that brought you excitement and adventure. Remember who you were as a child and those things, and reflect back on those and bring those to your adult self and try to fulfill those goals or the things that made you happy. Get outside of that box and that chain and that cycle of trying to keep up with the Joneses and have all of these things. Get back to family, get back to nature, and, go out and have fun. Bring happiness to yourself.
Absolutely. I'm so happy you said that. I say that all the time. I think I was looking at something on, I think it was Instagram or something the other day. Someone said, the woman, someone was interviewing her, and she said, what is the worst hood that you've been in? And she said adulthood. And I thought that was so dynamic, because that is, we forget about when we were children. Everything becomes so murky and so serious. And if you can take your adult self and match it with your child self, your life would just become this great adventure. I mean, like, really.
Improved.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be excited by the most minuscule things, and it'll bring you happiness.
Exactly.
The thing that I see a lot is, a lot of folks that I've grown up with or people that I've worked with, they were so used to not having that when they finally do have, they just get things.
Yes.
And the more things that they have, the more things they want and need. And they have to put it on social media. I have this, and look at this, and that. That's not happiness.
Mm-mm.
None of those things matter.
Doesn't matter.
Mm.
When you get out on the road, you realize how little you need to be happy.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
It's
I
beautiful.
mean, yes. I mean, I still have a house. I have a house in the Los Angeles area. And I called my daughter over and I said to my daughter, I said, look, I said, you know, mom is 65 now, and let's look at reality here. I might live to be 95, but I don't know if I want to even go there because if I don't have all of my facilities, I don't want to be there, you know. You know, I'm a realist about certain things, and I'm like, so I need to go off on an adventure, but I have this house here and I really don't, you know, I'm not going to sell it. You know, it's about generational wealth. And I say, so here's the keys, and you go at it. You know, you go at it. It's already paid for. You go at it, and I'm out of here. And so she says, Mom, every time you come back to the house, she used to say home, and now she said, Mom, every time you come back to the house, there's less and less of you here because I start purging my things. I'm not taking them with me. I'm just, you know, I had 3 closets of clothes. I had a bedroom that was a closet that, you know, but this is because when you live in a construct of what society says success, we do a lot of things that we think we're supposed to or we have to do to meet that measure, you know, to meet that bar. And I found out and I discovered along the way, it didn't matter what we did because the bar was always moving. And the people that was moving the bar were invisible. You never got to meet them. You didn't ever know who they were. You never got to have a conversation with them. Say, why did you move that bar? You know, I struggled to get up to here to get to that bar, and now you moved it again. You know,
Yeah.
and so I just learned that I just didn't need as much as I had. You know, and it's just awful to waste. And we all waste a lot of time, waste a lot of money, and we waste a lot of energy trying to reach the bar. Trying to
Well,
reach.
you know what's funny about that is the importance that we put on that bar. And it's really about our perception.
Yes.
So when we were out west, we did plenty of outdoor things. We were in constant workout clothes. And the moment that we visited Miami for the first time, my baby bag was a hiking backpack. And I felt ashamed. Dave asked me, you know, what's wrong? And I said, well, I don't want to go out to this restaurant with this hiking backpack. I feel out of place. We're in Miami. We're in a big city. Everybody's dressed beautifully. And you know, I have a hiking backpack that probably still has Utah dirt on it. So he looked at me and he chuckled and he says, so what? Who cares? It's diapers and wipes. No one's judging you. You know, you be proud to carry that backpack. I'll carry it for you. And so I had to really check myself, right? And it's that importance that I put on that same bar that you mentioned, that society says you should have these Gucci purses and these, you know, high-end things when you really don't have to. It's about necessities. My child needs diapers and wipes, and I'm going to carry them in a plastic bag if I had to.
And the ironic thing, I'm with you, Dave, that dirt that was from Utah, there was someone in that very restaurant that would have traded that dirt and that backpack for their life, the life that they're currently living in the 5-star hotel, in the whatever. They would have traded you because all that we are reaching for with that bar is absolutely not happiness. And it does not bring us freedom. It keeps us in those constructs that prohibits you from being free.
I'll add to that. Meeting that bar, keeping up with the Joneses, or staying within that construct, you sacrifice or you'll sell a piece of yourself to meet those bars, or to make someone else happy, or to keep up with the Joneses. you are giving a piece of yourself away each time you do that.
Absolutely. I just want to thank you all for your willingness to sit here in this room with me and have this conversation. I love conversations. I love talking. So I guess y'all know that already. And just to have such a conversation with such people that are in my likeness, in my kindness, and I'm in yours, you know, we are
Absolutely.
mirror
Yes.
reflections of each other. It's just
Yes.
super phenomenal. And I wish you all much happiness and safety out there on that road. I wish you all much success in that house out there. I was going to ask you about community, but you already told us, you know, when you found somewhere and it felt like community, that's where you decided to stop for now. But it's not stopping your travels. It's not stopping your freedom. You know, it's through freedom that you found this community.
Absolutely. And we have somewhere to put our stuff while we travel. Yes,
Absolutely. Yes.
We greatly appreciate it, and we love chit-chatting with you, and we hope to see you out on the road.
Yes, let's meet up.
And we also hope that this touches someone to go out and live their dreams, and hopefully, you know, go out and see this beautiful country of ours, get on the road or travel or whatever makes them happy. Just experience freedom.
Mm-hmm. Well, if folks continue and they embrace themselves in a sense of finding freedom, I that's what I'm hoping this will do. And talking with people like you help me continue to live as an example. You know, I am what I speak. I am what I teach. I'm walking the walk, not just talking the talk. You see, my electric went out. I didn't even know what to do.
But it happens. You don't panic. Easy.
That's like
It'll
life.
be fixed.
You know, that's like life. We are afraid to make mistakes. And I say mistakes and fear is the best friends and the greatest lessons that you could ever have in your life. Because they will teach you and show you everything you need to know to move forward on anything.
Yes, they are the beautiful blessings.
So reminds me of our first 24 hours in our RV. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
But we made it past that. I'm talking about bumped heads, the sewer tank just going awry and not able to hook up power, just everything. But we made it past that, and we're able to go to places and help people out now. You know, troubleshoot their issues.
Exactly. And again, I just want to thank you. So many more questions that come up to mind I want to ask you, and just keep on and keep on. But, you know, all good things must cease, not come to the end, just pause, because we will have more conversations again later. And let's stay in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and peace and blessings.
Same to you. Peace and have a beautiful day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.